You go to the mall with your friends to buy a pair of jeans. You can go to American Eagle and pay $60 to $70 for these jeans, or you can go to Forever 21 and pay only about $20 to $30 for the same pair. Know that the American Eagle ones will be much better quality and will last you longer, but the Forever 21 are just so much cheaper. You decide to go with the Forever 21 pair. The pair of jeans you pick are considered fast fashion. Fast fashion consists of clothes that are made cheaply and are trendy, and the companies that made these clothes come out with designs almost weekly. I myself have bought these clothes and have chosen to save a little money, but after my research and how bad I've seen it is, I can tell you that I will try my absolute best to stop. By the end of my speech, I hope to show you how harmful fast fashion is to our environment. It harms bodies of water, it releases a lot of greenhouse gases, and it leads to a lot of clothes ending up in landfills. Fast fashion is quickly affecting our water systems and not in a good way. The fashion industry uses a lot of water. It can take up to 5,000 gallons of water just to make one simple t-shirt and one pair of jeans. Just the grain of cotton alone makes up about 3% of the world's water usage every year. To illustrate this, in the 1960s, the Soviet Union redirected 2 rivers that fed into the Aral Sea to irrigate their cotton plants. On the left is a picture of the sea in 1977, 10 years after they decided to do this. And on the right is a picture of it in 2019. As you can see by now, it's almost completely dried up. Also, pollution has been leaked into the oceans and rivers. Polyester and nylon, 2 largely used synthetic fibers made from plastic, break down whenever we wash our clothes. These microplastics end up in our ocean, and over time they have started to build up. This is a picture of one area of the Oregon coast where microplastics have gone washed ashore. And you can only imagine how much is in the ocean if this is one area of one beach. Also, a lot of the factories that make the textiles dump their dyeing chemicals into surrounding rivers. This is a picture of the Chelai River in Bangladesh. Its waters are so polluted from untreated dyes, it has actually changed in color. Cassandra Elrod, an author and editor at the Indiana Journal of Global Legal Studies, stated that the textile dyeing industry alone accounts for 17 to 20% of industrial water pollution seen each year. This pollution has harmed the animals and the people that rely on these water supplies. As you can probably tell, this river is uninhabitable, and people aren't going to want to use this water to wash their clothes, to make food, to drink, to bathe in. Also, a lot of the chemicals that are dumped in rivers make their way into the ocean. Some of these chemicals can contain cancer-causing toxins. A group at Greenpeace, an organization that vows to make the world greener, found that 141 samples of clothing from 20 different brands all contained harmful toxins. Even worse, most of them are bioaccumulative, which means they can build up in aquatic life and make it all the way into our systems through consumption. Another way that fast fashion is harmful is through its emission of greenhouse gases. Carbon dioxide is one of the main gases that are released. The fashion industry releases 1.7 billion tons of carbon dioxide every single year. To put that into perspective, that's more than how much international flights release. Also, textile manufacturing is responsible for 80% of energy that fashion companies use, and this happens in factories where they use a lot of energy, and a lot of these factories are located in China where they rely on coal for that energy, so carbon dioxide is being released at a high rate. Still, carbon dioxide is not the only gas we should be worried about. According to EKO Energy, an organization that educates about climate change and how to slow it, the production of nylon produces nitrous oxide, which is a greenhouse gas 300 times more potent than carbon dioxide. To add on to this, most of the clothing items are being shipped overseas, and EKO Energy stated that ships burn bunker fuel, which contains 1,800 times more sulfur than U.S. domestic vehicle fuel, making shipping a significant polluting sector. And it doesn't seem like these emissions will go down anytime soon. The supply chain is where more than half of the greenhouse gas emissions occur. Only 19.5% of the top fashion brands are disclosing how much they actually release during this time. That makes it look like they're releasing a lot less than they really are. And if the fashion industry really wanted to align with efforts to keep global warming under 2 degrees, they could only emit 20% of what they do now by 2050. But at this rate, emissions will actually go up 60% by only 2030. The next thing that fast fashion adds to is waste in landfills, which can be equally as bad for our environment. Fast fashion makes us believe that our clothes are disposable. According to Carrie Sommers, the founder and director of Fashion Revolution, a group trying to reduce the harm of fast fashion, of the 150 billion new clothing items put on the market every year, 25% of that remains unworn. The point of fast fashion is to feel like our clothes are going out of style, so we constantly feel the need to be buying new ones. And not only that, the clothing isn't made out of sustainable materials and typically isn't made well, so even if it is one, it's discarded only after a few uses. Because of this, clothes are being thrown away and crowded already overfilled landfills. On average, we throw away about 80 pounds of clothing every year, and this takes up about 5% of space in landfills. While this doesn't seem like that much, in 2014, it resulted in 10.46 million tons of clothing being thrown away in the U.S. alone. This chart from the United States Environmental Protection Agency shows what happens to our clothes when we decide we're done with them. As you can see, the gray line is the one that shows landfill clothes. And as you can see, the rise in landfill clothes since the 1980s and 90s has risen drastically. This is due to the rise in fast fashion. The other problem is that only 15 to 20% of the clothes that we donate to charity actually end up in the stores. The rest go to landfills and are shipped overseas where they still may not be bought. I hope that now you know how harmful fast fashion is to our home. It hurts our rivers and oceans, it causes greenhouse gases to be emitted at a high rate, and it causes landfills to become even more overfilled. So what's your choice going to be now? Will you choose to buy the cheap pair from Forever 21, or will you change your mind and go with the pair that are eco-friendly and can help us save our home?